Assalamualaikum. My name is Ana Afrina binti Abdul Jamil.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurhanis Atira binti Hamdan, and today we are going to present our study entitled Influence Factor of Deviant Behaviour Among Youth, case study in Kuala Lumpur and Shah.
Youth and their involvement in negative behavior is so much a common issue. The negative behavior that will be discussed throughout this presentation is deviant behavior. Deviant behavior is a behavior that is negatively valued and defined by the society as it violates certain norms and expectations. National media have portrayed that deviant occurrences in this country is still at worrying level, whereby it is perceived as immoral acts such as the act of school skipping, baby dumping, and bullying, whereby these behaviors can actually lead to a more violent and aggressive behavior. We can take the example of the case the late Zulfarhan Osman, whereby it actually began with bullying and torturing their friend, and it ended up with unintentional murdering. Deviant behavior can actually give a great impact in youth's life overall, as youth can be rejected by their friends and even families, which would possibly ruin the future of the youth itself. Hence, it is important to determine the influence factor of deviant behavior and finding out the level of deviance among youth. Research concern comes to triggering factors that influence deviant behavior among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam, whereby the influence factors are parenting style, peer influence, and also individual factor. Parenting style is extremely crucial, as positive and the right parenting style can provide resilience towards youth from deviant behavior, while peer influence is simply because that evil companionship corrupt good morals, and also individual factor will be discussed about self-control. The study is conducted in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam is because these two cities are the areas which experience urbanization and industrialization.
And now we move to the research objective. We have 4 research objectives in this study. The first one is to examine the level of deviant behavior among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam. The second one is to identify factors that influence deviant behavior among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam. The third one is to examine the significant relationship between parenting style, peer influence, individual factor with deviant behavior among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam. And the last one is to identify the most significant influence factor of deviant behavior among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam. And now we move to the conceptual framework. As you can see, we have 3 independent variables, which are parenting style, peer influence, and individual factor. And our dependent variable is deviant behavior. So based on this figure, it presents the correlations of deviant behavior with its 3 factors of independent variables.
A total of 161 responses has managed to be collected throughout this study, and 61.5% of the respondents are from UiTM Shah Alam and 38.5% of the respondents from University Malaya. There are a few measurements that has been used in the questionnaire. As for parenting style, we use parental bonding instrument, and for peer influence, we use peer conformity vignette, and for individual factor, we use lack of self-control skill. The study is a quantitative study whereby questionnaires has been distributed towards youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam. There are 2 sampling techniques has been used in this study. The first one is convenience sampling and the second one is snowball sampling. The convenience sampling has been done by distributing the questionnaire and gaining responses in our convenience, whereby the Google form link has been distributed to our personal contacts and also through social media. As for snowball sampling, the questionnaires are being distributed by the respondents as well to their personal contacts, families or friends who belong in the same targeted population group, which are the youth of Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam.
As for data analysis, the first one is reliability testing. It was conducted to ensure the reliability of the skills. Cronbach's alpha was used to test the quality of the measurement. The second one is normality testing, which is to ensure the normality of the study. Statistic that is being used for this testing is skewness and courtesies, and different scholars have different views on the skewness and courtesies value. Descriptive statistic was used to analyse our first and second research objective. Pearson correlation was used to analyse our third research objective, while multiple regression was used to analyse our fourth research objective. So the first findings that we are going to present is demographic profile. Firstly, gender. Majority of our respondents are female, which is at the frequency of 129 and at 80.1%. The second one is institutions. Majority of our respondents are UiTM Shah students, which is at the frequency of 99 and at 61.5%. And as for the family household income, majority of our respondents comes from family with a monthly income of more than 5,000 ringgit, which is at the frequency of 67 and at 41.6%. Next is type of home. Majority of our respondents live with both of their parents, which is at the frequency of 149 and at 92.5%. And lastly, parents' occupation. Majority of our respondents are parents work in government sector, which is at the frequency of 63 and at 39.1%. And now we move to preliminary analysis. The first one is reliability result. Our reliability is measured from pilot study. By looking at the Cronbach's alpha, all of the variables in this study were found to be reliable. This is because all of the Cronbach's alpha value exceeds 0.6. The second one is normality result. Our normality result is measured from full-scale study. Based on the skewness and criticality value, it shows that our study has fulfilled the assumptions of normality. This is because according to Bryan 2010, the skewness value did not exceed positive 2 and the criticality value did not exceed positive 7. Now we move to the findings of research objective. Our first objective is to identify the level of deviant behaviour among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah. Based on the findings from mean descriptive analysis, the mean value of our dependent variable, which is deviant behaviour, is 3.4236. This shows that there is only a moderate level of deviant behaviour among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah.
The second objective is to identify the influence factor of the deviant behaviour among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam. Descriptive statistics has been used in order to identify the mean values of the independent variables, which are parenting style, peer influence, and also individual factor. It can be concluded that these independent variables actually being below moderate of being influencing towards deviant behaviour among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam. The third objective is to examine the significant relationship between parenting styles, peer influence, and also individual factor with a deviant behaviour among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam. In finding out this objective, Pearson correlation analysis has been conducted towards all independent variables in order to identify the significant relationship between these independent variables to dependent variable. The second independent variable, or IV, is parenting style, whereby it can be seen here that there is correlation between parenting style and deviant behaviour from the Pearson correlation analysis reading of 0.2 and its p-value of 0.011. The alternative hypothesis has been accepted, whereby there is significant relationship between parenting style and deviant behaviour, while its null hypothesis has been rejected. The second independent variable is peer influence, whereby it can be said that there is no correlation between peer influence and deviant behaviour, as we can see from the Pearson correlation analysis reading of 0.123 and its p-value of 0.12. Hence, we can conclude that the null hypothesis has been accepted, whereby there is no significant relationship between peer influence and deviant behaviour, and its alternative hypothesis has been rejected. The third independent variable is individual factor, whereby we can say that there is correlation between individual factor and deviant behaviour. From the Pearson correlation analysis reading, we can see here it is 0.273 and its p-value of 0.0. We can conclude that the alternate hypothesis has been accepted, whereby there is significant relationship between individual factor and deviant behaviour among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam, while its null hypothesis has been rejected. The final objective of this study is to identify the most significant influence factor of deviant behaviour among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam. In working out this objective, Multiple regression analysis has been conducted in order to find out the most significant variable on deviant behavior among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah, whereby it can be seen that individual factor is the most significant variable here due to its beta reading of 0.23 being the highest among other variables. The alternate hypothesis whereby there is most significant factor influence of deviant behavior among youth is accepted and its null hypothesis has been rejected.
Now we have come to the end of our presentation. In conclusion, this research was done to gain better understandings about the influence factors of deviant behavior among youth in Kuala Lumpur and Shah Alam, which are parenting style, peer influence and individual factor. To conclude the result, both of the parenting style and individual factor have significant relationship with deviant behavior, while peer influence were found to have no significant relationship with deviant behavior. That's all from us. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.